falling down again. Rise up. Long time I broke the chains.
One word to describe myself would be I'm an optimist. And I say this because I like to do or think positive in everything I do. So I see a vision and I feel that nothing is impossible. Working with my parents in a small business allowed me to have an education up to 4th form. After 4th form, because we had 6 other kids to attend to see that they got their education, I felt I needed to move on to give the other kids a break, you know, at an education. Seeing that my family only had a small panades business to do all this from or with. Seeing that my parents were the ones who kind of supported and motivated me to make the decision to leave Belize to go abroad to find a brighter future. I believe that, and that's what I did. From the moment I got to the States, it was not as we had expected. I could not stay with my friend at her sister's home. Thereby we had to be separated, and I had to go and stay with other family members. I stayed with a cousin of hers. In that household, there were quite a few male persons. In that household, I was raped. From there, seeing that I had no family members in the States, I started to seek security. That landed me in a relationship like overnight because I was frightened. I was, you know, insecure of what would have happened next. Meeting someone after being raped, I thought that this was security. Knowing the person at the age of 21, again, the relationship, I would say, based on what happened in the past and seeing a way out from being placed in maybe another home or with other family members. Having a relationship at that time would have allowed me to move away from that and start maybe something new and fresh as a way to start, you know, a new life. Within that relationship, I got pregnant and I had a son. The abuse started because there was no money, and I refused to give up what I had earned for me and my child. It was verbal at first, it became physical, and I believe because I was alone with no other family member to stand up for me, to support me, that it just went from bad to worse. The worst part and the most frightening part of the abuse was living in this person's, in my common law sister's home, and taking a shower one day, he came behind me. The water was on, so I did not hear him. He put a plastic bag over my head and tried to suffocate me. I thought I was going to die. One night during the cold, I got up to change my child, who was still maybe just a few months old. Shivering, I built a semi-tent out of blankets so that we can both stay warm. And that was when I decided that this was not right. This was not the life I wanted for my son, my child. Even though through all this, he was the best thing that ever happened to me. my journey out from that moment became my focus. I began to tell myself, one way or the other, I needed to get home. I needed to get home for myself and for my child. So from there, everything started to come about. My mom became ill, and I was informed at that time, and I said, this is my way home. The Lord has answered my prayer. One line I kept with me was, He will not give me more than I can bear. I remember that line quite well because He was hitting me, and that was all I had to hold on to. Even though I did not come back to Belize, I had to stop off in Merida because that's where my mom was having an operation. And she was very ill. It was a relief to see a family member after 5 years. It was a relief. It was a very emotional time for us because I thought I'd never see my parents again, or my brothers and sisters. And they welcomed me back, even though at some point, after all the emotions of coming home died down, I look back and I was kind of angry at my parents, you know, and growing up, because they only wanted the best for me, they steered me in this direction, and I felt a bit angry with them because now I know that I don't really have to go anywhere. You know, we can be what we want to be right here. We don't have to go to the US, we don't have to go anywhere in the world. So that was also a part of the emotion that I felt coming back. Because I had lived in an abusive situation and I've endured physical, emotional, and verbal abuse, I felt that I had to give back something because I was able to get out of it. God blessed me with grace and wisdom to move on and to make the decisions I had made after my experience. It was an urge, it was a very strong feeling that I had to do this. So I look at it now and say to myself, I am exactly where the Lord wants me to be.
Rise up and don't falling down again. Rise up. Long time I broke the chains. I tried to fly.